everybody. I just can't get this intro today. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with some summer reads. So if you are watching this on the day that it comes out, it is officially the first day of summer, which makes me very excited because for the first time in maybe my entire life, my birthday actually falls on the first day of summer. It's usually the day right before the first day of summer, but this year it's on the day that summer begins, and that makes me very excited. And what better way to celebrate my birthday than by sharing some books that I freaking love. So a lot of these are going to be contemporary books because, like most people, when I think of summer reads, I think of contemporary reads as well. So there are 10 books here that I want to talk about. So let's just get into it. The very first book that I want to mention is one that I read last summer. So it just feels appropriate. And that is the Unnie Mooners by Christina Lauren. This is such a bright cover that you're gonna have a hard time seeing that, and I apologize. So this follows our main character Olive, whose sister is getting married, and her arch nemesis is the brother and the best man of the man that her sister is marrying. And by some weird happenstance, everybody at the wedding reception gets some kind of food poisoning except for Olive and the best man whose name is Ethan. So they both get convinced to go on the honeymoon that the couple was supposed to go on because now they can't, which is to Maui. And it's adorable, and I wouldn't call it a hate to love relationship, but it kind of does fall within that, they don't really like each other at first and then they fall in love. And I really like this. Also, it takes place on Maui, which is an island, and it's like a fancy resort, and who doesn't want to go to an island right now, because I would be the first in line. So this is a great, just fun read to take place if you want to pretend you're going to be on the beach. It's just a fun one to get through, and it's really, really easy to get through. So that's the first one that I suggest that you read. It's pretty great. The next one that I'm going to mention is one that I actually just finished, and I haven't even talked about it in a wrap-up yet because I literally just finished it, but it's amazing and I need to talk about it, and I need someone to read it. And that is Pride by E.B. Zaboy. This is a remix retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but it follows a girl named Zuri who is a senior she's about to become a senior in high school, and it's during the summer between her junior and senior year, and the very, very rich Darcy family moves in next door, and y'all know what's gonna happen. It's amazing. I loved this so much. I think it's one of the best remixes and retellings of Pride and Prejudice that I have read in a while. It's up there with Eligible, and y'all know that I love Eligible by Curtis Sittenfeld. They are neck and neck for my favorite retelling. And it's a great fun YA story. So I highly suggest you pick this one up if you do a hate to love romance or anything that has to do with Pride and Prejudice, because it's great. And please read this. I need my coffee. The next book is one that people have raved about, and I would be surprised if you haven't heard about it or honestly haven't read it. And I don't know what it is about it that makes it feel like a summer read, except for the fact that I read it last summer on the beach. So that might be it. But it is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I adored this book so much. It's this beautiful romance between the first son of the President of the United States and a Prince of England. There's a lot of great representation, but this is such a fun, cute, lovely story. But it is new adult, so be aware when you go into it that there are many a smexy scene in here. But it's just a fun story between the two of them, and I just adore it. And for me, contemporary romances are perfect for the summer. So I highly suggest this as a great one, because you can just forget about the world, and it's a good fluffy read, and it does hit some harder topics, but it's just a fun ride. So please read this, because it's great. The next one is another one that's just a fun, fluffy, romance that you can read really quickly, and that is I Love You by Erin Lyon, but also like Unconditionally by her, because it is a duology, so I kind of put these together as one on this list. I've talked about this a lot recently because I read it in April, but this takes place in a world where there is no marriages. They are 7-year contracts instead, and it follows our main character, Kate, who just got out of law school recently, and the man that she has been partnered with for a while decides that they should probably take a break, and like her entire life is thrown up in arms. And then she also becomes friends with this guy who is known as a contract killer, and he only goes after women who are under contract. And now that she's not anymore, they just kind of like become friends. Or do they? It's great. It's fluffy. It's trope heavy. You don't have to think a lot when it comes to it. But I did really enjoy this, so it's just a fun adult story that you can just totally get swept up in. Another one that's very good, and one that I honestly would love to read again because I don't remember a lot about it, but that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire-Sans. This is set in, like, it's not present day. It does follow Aristotle and Dante as they become friends, and like Dante is kind of like making Ari, is how he shortens his name, Ari, like question a lot of things. And I think it's fantastic. It is very easy. It's kind of stream of consciousness in a sense as far as like the writing style goes. There's a lot of dialogue. The chapters are ridiculously short, so it's very simple to go get through. It's just a good kind of like a coming of age story that also includes a love story on top of that. So I got through this book in like a couple of days, but it does take place during the summer. So if you want something that's a little more hard-hitting as far as like the topics that are covered, this is your book. Also, if you can't tell by the fact that there are a ton of things on this, it's good and has won a lot of awards. You should read it. The next one also takes place in the summer, and I love it. And that is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. I'm sure many people have read this book by now, but this does follow our main character, Molly, who always falls for boys, and none of them ever like her back. But then, like, she kind of starts a friendship relationship with the guy that she has a summer job with. But there is a lot of representation here because I believe that she has 2 moms, and her sister is also in a relationship with a girl. So, like, there's a lot of LGBTQ plus representation in here. It's great. It's a fun, fluffy romance. I love Becky Albertalli's writing style. I can finish a book by her in a day. I finished this in a day. I finished Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda in a day. But it does, like, cover a lot of bases. And it's just a cute summer high school romance. It's great. So the next one is actually, like, a series as well. And that is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue and The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. This series is, I don't even know, like a fantasy historical fiction series, kind of, or historical fiction with like fantastical elements. I don't really know how you would categorize it, but it follows our main character, Monty, who goes on this grand adventure for the last time before he basically has to like be in charge of his father's land, with his best friend Percy, who he's actually in love with, and with his sister Felicity, who is, this entire second book is from her perspective and is about her. But it's very like piratey, and they are on the ship and they're always like searching for stuff, and this is very island based as well, so you get a lot of beach feel from this, and like expedition, and like going on an adventure, going on a journey with both of these. And who doesn't love a summer road trip book? And that's kind of the feel that I get from these 2 books, is that kind of like road trip vibe, which is why I think it would be good for the summer if you want something that's not like contemporary, if you want something that's maybe more historical fiction, more has like fantastical elements in it, this is the series for you. The next one is also one that takes place during the summer, and it's one of like my favorites, like 2 years ago, and I still will go back and read scenes from it because it's amazing. And that is When Dibble Met Ritchie by Cynthia Manon. I love this author. I think her writing is amazing. I don't know if you can tell by the amount of times that I tabbed this, but I really liked this book. This follows a girl named Dimple who is very into like app development and computers and kind of techie, and she comes from a kind of traditional Indian family where her parents want her to find the ideal Indian husband. And so they basically agree to let her go to this summer camp at this college that she wants to go to. However, there's a boy named Ritchie who they have picked out for her and knows that she's going to be at this camp and has assumed that her parents have told her that, like, they want the two of them to be together. But they haven't, and so it's them, like, this entire summer at this camp, learning about each other, learning to be partners with each other, maybe even having, like, budding romance as well. I love this book. I thought it was fantastic. I read this one really, really quickly. So it's a good summer book if you want kind of those young love summer vibes, and I think it's fantastic. I need to go back into this one because this one was fun. This was a fun book. And the last book that I am going to talk about is it takes place in the summer, but it is a hard-hitting book. So if you want a hard-hitting book, this is the book for you. And that is Birthday by Meredith Russo. This follows two friends, Eric and Morgan, from the ages of 13 to 18, and they both share the same birthday. They've grown up together, but Morgan doesn't feel right in the body that she was born in, and so she's thinking about transitioning, what that would mean, and just kind of testing the boundaries of that, and also her, like, best friendship with Eric. And it's just growth between the two of them over these 7 years, but it tackles a lot of hard topics, but I think it's fantastic. I also like how it is written, because it is written over 7 years, but it only takes place on their birthday each year, and, like, what happens on that day, and then, like, you skip an entire year, and the next section is the next birthday. It's just a beautiful story between these two people as they try to figure out who they are as individuals and then who they are together. It was great. I read it last year for the Newts, and it just hit me in all of the feels, and I absolutely love Meredith Russo as an author. And she's also, like, it's a No Voices, she also is a transgender woman, and so you do get, like, I feel like these stories come from a very real place, and I just love her writing so much. So I think this is fantastic. I highly suggest that you read it if you want something that, like, hits you in the feels so hard. But those are the books that I suggest that you read during the summer. I had a lot of contemporary, but there were some other books in there as well. They weren't all romances, but a good chunk of them were, because, like, to me, summer is the time for fun, fluffy romances. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, or if you have a good summer reading recommendation. But if you did like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I have all my social media down there as well if you would like to follow along on any of those, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! I should not have worn long pants today because I am hot.